The world's first titanium super compressor. Maybe, or kind of. Yeah, there's definitely some controversy with that, and that is because many have said Fairer was first, but it definitely is the first super compressor from RZE, and this RZE Resolute Super Compressor is the brand's most expensive watch to date at $700. So let's check it all out. Now, we all know what a super compressor watch is at this point, right? If you're watching this and you don't, Google it. There are 100 different articles and videos on it. So I'll give you just a very simplified version of it. It's a method of making a watch water resistant, and it was done in the late 50s and 60s by EPSA. And as the name implies, it's a compressor case, which means there is a spring in the case that allows the watch to compress, and it compresses the seals in the process and makes the watch more water resistant the deeper you dive. Now, it's not really used in most modern dive watches simply because the materials and technology have come a long way since the late 50s and 60s. But nostalgia is always there, and more so than the case compression is the look of the super compressor. The dual crown with the internal dive bezel, the most famous look of the super compressor by EPSA. But what about this super compressor from RZE? Why did they choose to make an actual compressor case? Why did they claim they are the first titanium one? Is Fairer actually the first? Does it even matter if the watch is titanium or stainless steel when we're talking about true compressor cases? Those are all good questions, some that I just don't have the answers to right now. I've never seen the Fairer in hand. I would like to, so Fairer, if someone from your team is watching or listening, get in touch. But so much of this doesn't really matter, as the majority buying this and using one of these watches will really never use it for its true purpose, so you end up buying it more for looks. And the good news is, this RZE Resolute Super Compressor is a damn good looking watch. It's 40 millimeters, it comes in 4 colorways, and this one with the blue dial and the fully loomed internal bezel is definitely my favorite of the bunch, but they all look good. Yes, it is all titanium, grade 2 titanium to be specific. It has a hard coating to reduce scratches, a bead blasted finish, and it follows the original Resolute with a similar case design, though it is modified slightly to accommodate the dual crowns. Unlike the original super compressors from EPSA, which do not have a screw down crown, but a different type of system we really don't see these days that had a gasket type deal around the tube of the crown that again compressed the more pressure was applied to keep water out. Here on the RZE, we have a screw down crown, both of them are screw down crowns, for the time and the internal bezel. Since this is a no date Miyota 90S5 movement, you only have one click on the crown and it operates smoothly, no issues here. The internal bezel crown, it moves really fast and smooth when turning, though with any screw down crown that operates an internal bezel, it's hard to screw it back down once you have the bezel set where you want without moving it out of place. It sometimes will take a few tries, but once you do get it locked back down, that bezel will stay in place till you change it. One more thing about the crowns, they feel and look a little small to me. One thing about the original super compressor cases was the oversized dual crowns, and these feel small in comparison. There may have been some limitations with the case design, the way the crowns are positioned under the protrusion of the case, and maybe a larger sized case like 42 millimeter would allow for bigger crowns. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. The case is blasted titanium grade 2 with a hard coating, as is the H-Link bracelet, and I love this case design. It's kind of round, it's kind of square, it has protruding angles on both sides of the case, and there are drilled lugs as well for easy removal of the bracelet. The case back is as simple as it gets, but the good thing here is it's nice and flat, which makes it very comfortable when on the wrist. The bracelet itself does have a few issues, Or more specifically, a few things I noticed which I found odd. The first is it has some movement or flex to it, which I will show you on screen. Now, you can see how it moves, and I hope this will not affect the durability of the bracelet, and this could just be due to the design with the gap between the links, but it is something I wanted to point out. The other would be the slight pinkish blue in the very center of the inside of the links. It's pretty much on every link, and all I can think of is this is left over from the hard coating, so it seems to be some kind of plating process with the 1200 Vickers hard coating. It's not noticeable when being worn, at least not that I have seen, but again, something I noticed when sizing it, and I wanted to mention it. The bracelet tapers from 16 millimeters to 20 millimeters at the buckle. Sizing is easy with screw bars. And even though it looks like two screws, don't fret, it's only one that you actually size. The other is there for aesthetic. The clasp we have seen before, but I love it. It's push button, it's flip lock, it has 6 micro adjust holes, and it's nice and slim. And one last thing about this case and bracelet, and that's the hard coating. Now, unlike the Zelos Field Watch, which on my sample didn't actually have the hard coating, this is a full production model of the RZE, and yes, it is coated. And in certain spots, it does have a few marks. Some I think are from the clasp itself on the bottom of the bracelet, and a few marks on the case back. Otherwise, it's pretty good. The dial here is typical RZE, which is a wonderful looking dial. I love how they do these with the elongated, thin applied indices. The 12, 3, 6, and 9 having that little pop of color, which is a different color of Loom. And the texture dial they have become known for with the 90S5 movement being no date. It's a very symmetrical dial. The white internal bezel is a really nice contrast against the blue of the dial, and overall, I really love the clean look here. The one thing I'll say though is it's the same dial on the Endeavor Diver with different hands. Now, for a brand aspect, I understand wanting to keep a similar look and maybe it cuts down on production costs, but for those that already own the standard diver, they may be looking for a different dial with the different case. The Loom is pretty good as well. I'll give it a B grade, maybe a B plus. The Loom is nice and strong and bright at first, but these are slim indices and hands, and that means you won't be able to pack on the Loom compound, so don't expect this to last for hours and hours, but it should get a solid 3 to 4 hours from my testing. My one wish is I wish it was larger, or that RZE started offering a choice of two sizes. This case design coupled with the tapering bracelet just wears small in my opinion. This feels more like a 39 millimeter than a 40, or let's just say a small 40 millimeter. Now that is great for those that like small watches or those with small wrists, but I just wish for a 42 millimeter. That said, if you have a large wrist, I took out 5, yes, 5 links to fit my 7.5 inch or 19.05 centimeter wrist. So it should fit pretty much everyone from 6 inches to 8 3/4 inches. Wrist sizes I'm talking about here. I just want to make that clear, everybody. Now, if you don't like the bracelet, good news, there is a rubber strap for this as well. It's an extra charge. It's $30. It's $30 because if you add it to cart when buying the watch, it brings it up to $729. But it makes the watch even more lightweight and it changes up the look. Now, unfortunately, it's only available in this black color right now, which doesn't exactly go with this blue and white dial, though it doesn't look horrible. You know, since the very first RZE I reviewed, I have sang their praises, and I think they do make a very, very good watch. This is another great looking piece, and it is a $200 jump over their standard dive watch, but with this being an actual super compressor, the modified case, and the Miyota 9000 series movement, the price seems justified. The colors look great, and it is a design that is still popular these days, but I would like to see some stainless steel pieces, maybe some larger sizes, and hopefully a new dial configuration at some point from the brand. Let me know what you think of all this down in the comment section below. All links will be in the description, including one to a written review, and I hope you check that out. Also, please be sure to check out all our other video reviews. I will have some linked at the end of this video, and a link to all videos is down in the description. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit notifications so you never miss any of our videos. This is Don Evans from Watch Report. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.